There it is. How's it going, everybody? Click. Go. No, come on. I'm just trying to confirm this is actually up on YouTube. There it is. All right.
Cute.
Post. Do all the social media stuff. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm tired. Truthfully.
Yeah, jeez.
We got a lot to unpack inside of an hour tonight, people. So I hope you're ready, because there is a lot to discuss. Is this it? Yep, there it is. David. All right, who we got in the chat? We have Joe, Mike, Ryan, South Jersey, Chris, David, Joe again, Mike again.
Joe,
Tom,
Mike.
Gordy. Good to hear for you this time. Oh, David, very welcome, buddy. I was throwing that the other day. This thing is amazing. I'm really happy with this bait. Arm wrestle to show.
Yeah, I've dislocated my shoulder. I'm all set.
I think it's actually the one thing I might win. I don't know. See, the difference between me and him is, like, he's a lot younger, but now I've got, like, that old man dad strength, and you don't fuck with that.
Yeah, but I'm...
Yeah, you can't say that. No. You can't say that aloud. All right, we're going to jump right into it. So how's it going, everybody? Thank you all for joining tonight. We are again joined by Oliver from Big Bass Dreams.
The tiny bait enthusiast.
We got a lot to unpack. We're going to try and keep this to an hour tonight. So without further ado, let's get into it. A couple little introductory things. First off, for everybody that shared the stream ahead of time, thank you very much. As always, we appreciate it. To really paint a better picture as to how much that has been helping us lately, because I check it. I check it every day to see, like, where we're trending and how we're trending the whole 9 yards. Our average growth over the last month compared to the last 3 months, prior to that, has quintupled, like, in literally every metric possible.
Is that 5?
Yes.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. So thank you all very much. Again, like, obviously there's a lot that we have to do, right, to earn that, but you cannot kind of reach that level of growth without continued community support. So we thank you guys for being able to do that for us. It means the world to us. And it's crazy, like, just watching everything just jump and jump and jump. So everything's been good. Beyond that, for those that are looking to donate, there's one of 3 ways you can do it. Patreon. Yeah, not Patreon. Sorry. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Donate directly through YouTube stream or down the video description below. There is a link to both our PayPal and Venmo. Anything that you guys do is hugely helpful. It has been 100% reinvested back into the channel. No pressure. Just putting it out there. Last but not least, we're going to do a quick intro for Oliver. But before that, Oliver does have his own monthly Patreon. He actually has many tiers to his Patreon. And in that, he does private streams for his Patreon members. So, for those that are interested, I recommend you go check it out. It is in the video description already, but I'm going to put it in the chat in just 1 second. Other than that, let's dive into it. Oliver, say hello. Introduce yourself yet again. Everybody knows who you are anyway, but we can make it a little more formal.
Absolutely. What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for having me on again. If you guys haven't figured it out, I'm Oliver Nye, the tiny bait enthusiast. I really am. I don't know if you guys are following along on our little Clear Lake adventure the last couple of weeks, but we started waxing giant crappie on little glide baits and little tiny miniature lipless crankbaits and all kinds of fun stuff, and actually caught some largemouth while we were doing it.
Really? That's pretty cool.
But excited to be here, excited to talk about the next couple of weeks, excited to venture back into the Northeast for the first time in a long time. So,
well, you are very welcome.
Yeah.
That's right. That's another thing we have to discuss. You're coming up to the Northeast Swimbait Expo in Marlborough, Mass, April 9th through 10th.
Yes, sir. You guys can thank Mr. Dan Kenny for making that happen. And originally, we had agreed on having me come out on the 9th on Saturday, and I was going to turn and burn it to be back the same day, just so I can get some practice in for the Bassmaster James River Open event. But I was somehow coerced to attend a second day. Both Saturday and Sunday to support my man Scott and Lakeside Outfitters in that booth. We'll be there with members of the Dream Team, including Miss Riley Kolich and Jola Barbara. And man, just excited to hang out, talk shop with everybody, and and re-embrace a bunch of you guys that I haven't seen in a few years. I think the last time I was up even closer that way was 2019 at the Suffering Show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, and the last time I was in Boston area was 2013 or 14.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So we'll have some Big Bass Dreams merch. We'll be supporting Defiant Fishing as well at the booth, and like I said, just chopping it up. Might do a couple seminars from the booth. Still trying to work out those details. So I would just stay tuned to the Northeast Swimbait Expo social media or my own, just for updates on that, because I know it's hard for people to take time off. I actually got several messages that guys weren't planning on attending until they saw that I was showing up. So they're calling off of work or trying to get out of the baby showers or whatever else they had going on just to come hang out. So looking forward to doing that.
Hell yeah, man. Should be fun. I know Andrew and myself, at least I'm going to be there all day Saturday. We're not setting up a booth as much as I would have loved to have done that. I can't get merch in time, so I would be standing in front of an empty shelves and a banner, this nice banner.
You stand in front of me.
Yeah, it'd be easy to block you. I'm fat. But we're gonna be there. At least I'll be there all day Saturday. Andrew's gonna try and work that out. I don't know if your boss is watching. He usually does. You should just let him take Saturday off. Thank you. And yeah, again, all day Saturday, and it is Saturday and Sunday, April 9th through 10th. At the something Plaza Center down in Marlborough, Mass. It's like right off of Route 495, wicked easy to get to, right off the damn highway. So you really can't ask for better than that. So hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys there. I know there's going to be quite a few vendors there. There's going to be a whole crazy variety of baits available: glides, wakes, rats, crankdowns, like you name it. So there's something there for everybody, and I really do think it's going to be a great show. So hopefully we'll see you all there. Everybody come over and say hi to us. We'll be walking around and just kind of soaking it all in and spending as much cash in such a short amount of time as possible.
I don't think it can be 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I could, yeah. You go crazy there. You could probably burn through $500 in about 10 minutes. Like easy.
That's like 2 baits these days.
I know. South Jersey fishermen, those Defcon baits got me interested. I know that guy, Rich, and his Defcon baits are legit. Those are great baits. He makes some really, really nice crankdowns. I have 2 crankdowns. No, I have them in here. I forgot the box in my boat. But I have 2. I've got like the original profile. It's like a bigger perch. It's a 7-inch bait. I think it's like 3 ounces, but it cranks down like 2 to 3 feet at a nice moderate retrieve. And then I've got his stubby. It's a 6-inch, and that one goes 5 to 6 feet at like a nice moderate retrieve. And then I got his big old broomstick bluegill that's just a wake. You can kind of crank it down a foot, but for me, I'm just happier waking that thing. Awesome baits, well worth the money. So if you're interested in those, make sure you get there. And Tyler, you're right. Pat won't be there. Pat's never there. I don't need Pat to be there. I got one. It's taking a long time.
Now you can stop talking about it.
Yes.
And
Thank my buddy Gary for hooking it up. So without further ado, speaking of big baits, let's jump into it. So we're going to talk first about primary lure styles, and this is where Oliver's really going to basically just take over the show and make us look really good. So Oliver, thank you. So let's break it down. Let's cover all the, again, primary styles for big baits, glides, crankdowns, soft bodies, the whole 9 yards. And then from there, we'll go into like really all the different mechanics for each style. So I'll make it easy for you. Start with your favorite baits for as far as style goes, and we'll go from there, and we'll do our best to try and, interject whatever little knowledge that we have so we can keep this conversation going.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this seems simple enough. Where to start? Favorite baits? It's honestly the one that's currently hanging out of the mouth of a fish. So there are so many amazing baits these days, and you're going to see that at this expo. It's crazy to me how many options there are across all of these big bait categories that we all have access to now. So to try to cram just a few of them into a list, let alone my boat, is a constant struggle, to be honest. That's part of what I'm actually trying to scramble to do right now. Is I'm attempting to fit in 7 months worth of travel and fishing across multiple seasons and species for the next 7 months. And that's not an easy thing to do. So
That's hard enough to do for one day.
Right.
yeah, no, absolutely it is. I mean, gosh, when I pull stuff out of my big boat to put in the kayak for a day of fishing, that's a monumental struggle. So man, I really don't know where to start. Why don't you guys hit me with some questions, a little bit more specific, maybe kind of open it up to the audience here and what they want to, poke me with, because I can just ramble on about all kinds of crap they may not want to hear about.
All right. Well, I know that the majority of the people that are here are at least they have an understanding of the basics, but not all of them. There's still a lot of new anglers that we know that that follow us and follow you that, are just really getting into the big bait scene. So let's start from a high level overview. Like, what are like the primary categories of big swim baits out there? Like, again, I know there's like glide and then there's wakes, but then I've heard other people say, like, for rats, they're kind of in their own separate category. So let's kind of cover it from a high-level overview, and then from there, we can go straight into glides, because I think Andrew's got a question or two about his depths, so we can go that way. But let's break it down. Like, what are the primary categories of big baits, and what falls into each category?
Gosh, okay, let's start on the top, or from the top, as I would say. And topwater big baits are a thing, and anytime you mix topwater and a big ass bait, like, I'm in.
Yeah, it's
so whether that's a big walk the dog bait like a mega dog, whether that's a rat bait like you guys are talking about, I want to take a little bit of credit in the resurgence of the rat culture, starting in the mid to late 2000s. At the time, Scott Whitmer had stopped production of the 22nd century Nazuma rat. It used to sit on the shelves of performance tackle here down the street for $45.99, and nobody would buy one. That looks like an OD rat.
It is. That was the collaboration with my buddies at Swimbait Scrutiny, the juice rat. It's got like little juice drops all over the top of the back.
Yeah, nice. And he pulled it off the shelf and out of production because nobody liked that bait enough to spend $45 on it. But I saw a great potential with it, and after a couple years of hounding them, luckily I was working in construction at the time still, and I'd take my lunch breaks and go right up the street to Scott's house from Long Beach Memorial Hospital, and just BS with him literally daily, and finally talked him into making me a set of rats. And that's when we got him to do limited one-off 10 piece runs of the extra large Nazuma rat. That seemed to really fuel that boom in rat culture. And gosh, they're retailing for like $175 a pop, which was crazy back then. But they'd sell out every time. So that definitely got a lot of people's interest, but more importantly, it got the interest of those fish. And bass, no matter where they live, will take a swipe at a big terrestrial animal struggling on the surface. And it's pretty interesting because you'll see them attack it in a way where they feel like it's almost like they know they got to hit it extra hard.
Yeah, it's like they have to either send it to the moon or it's going to get in the back of their throat.
Yeah, it's awesome. And they crush those kinds of baits. So a big rodent style rat bait is definitely up high on the list of just fun baits to throw. I actually got away from it because I just felt like the truly trophy fish weren't willing to come to the surface to feed. So it actually went away out of my arsenal for a long time. But since I've been fortunate to notch a lot of really good fish through my body of work, I can literally just go back and enjoy every single bite that I get when I'm fishing. Like, I appreciate them all. When I was super hungry and wanting these teen fish and these big bags, I was disappointed with a lot of really big fish. And now that I'm just having fun with big baits included, like, I'm totally down to throw a big topwater rat, even if it's only a 2.5 pounder that smokes it. Because that 2.5 pounder,
they hit it harder than the big ones.
Oh yeah,
They absolutely smoke it.
Yeah, man.
I've seen
So
them breach out after them. It's insane.
definitely have some kind of rat bait in your repertoire. There's so many now. It's crazy. I can't keep up with them all.
Just
And
like the OG, like well, not OG, but like the BBZ rat. It's cheap, and that thing gets bit. Like it's
totally.
I've caught
Yeah.
so many goddamn big fish on this thing.
It's an accessible bait. Guys can buy it, but man, some of the OGs like the Jerry Drago rat are still some of my favorites. The Zuma rat. Those are pretty much the two rat baits that I've thrown. I've had my man from Elude Baits send me one of his rats early on, back when I met him at Big Bass Dreams DVD premiere at Tackle Direct in New Jersey. But I can't get myself to throw it. Actually, Mike Zampese, who's creeping on the comments,
With
somehow
the slander.
possession of that very rat. So I expect to take that back in a week and a half when I see you, Mike. But yeah, maybe we got to put some teeth marks on that thing finally. And the other big topwater style of bait is a big walking bait. You guys might have seen me doing some damage with the big Mega Bass Mega Dog. I know I got a few laying or hanging around here. Like, look at this one here. Like, this thing has
Jesus.
man, all that is hook rash, but like all that, like on top, those
That's
are
all
all
teeth.
teeth marks.
Yep.
That's largemouth and stripers and everything in the ocean hates this thing, by the way. So if you guys are trying to have some fun or brush up on some mechanics on, working the bait, getting bit, setting the hook, missing fish, losing fish without it, breaking your heart every time because it's a giant largemouth or smallmouth, take it saltwater fishing and get some reps in, build some good muscle memory, good mechanics, and you'll be good to go. And then wake baits obviously are another great category of bait. There have been a lot of big fish that have succumbed to a big wake bait, and once again, now that's a huge category with so many different options. But one that I do want to kind of show you guys that nobody really talks about, and I probably just have some prototypes here, or a big crawler bait. You guys fishing any crawlers?
I have not yet. I was planning on getting into it this year.
Yeah, dude, now you're talking. So that's what I was
Oh, yeah.
trying to find. I bought, the hell was it? The Jackal Pompadour. So,
Yep.
Very small version of that. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I really like this. This is my style.
That's what I want.
So then I bought, is it the Mega Bass iWing 185? Did I
Yeah.
get that right? I just bought that at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo because MGC Swimbaits, MGC Fishing, based out of Massachusetts, was there with the booth, and they had one in all black. And we do our fair share of night fishing, always have. So I was like, yeah, no, I need that. So that was one of two baits I bought at the Expo. But I was looking at it, I'm like, man, I thought this thing was a lot bigger, which is funny because 3 years ago we looked at it and like, oh my god, it's huge. Now
Right.
I'm like, that's cute, but I'm sure it'll still get bit.
I just showed you guys a Defiant prototype that's going to be available hopefully at the end of this year. Who knows? But it's 6 inches from tip to tip.
Holy crap.
It's a big bait designed for big largemouth, but big pike crush it, big muskies crush it, actually big smallmouth try to eat it. And we've done really good down in Australia with Murray caught on it. And it's a bait that a lot of fish haven't seen. That crawling action, this one's unique because this one actually oscillates when it walks. You notice like when you throw that I-wing, it does more of a left to right. Like it's only really moving like
trying
on
to pull itself.
Well, this thing is like chopping the
Oh,
line.
yeah.
It's
Gonna
the
get
Pompadour is a great bait. The Aventa crawler was another really good one. That's a bigger, like 4-inch body. So, getting closer to that big bait class of lure. Man, it's a lot of fun. So if you're just looking for good fish and high engagement and high fun levels, throw a topwater big bait of any of those categories, and you're gonna have a lot of success. Those medium-sized bass especially seem to really like that stuff. So like where you guys are at, like the 3 to 5 pounders, and down here on the West Coast, I mean, we catch a lot of 3 to 8 pounders.
Yeah.
But very rarely did I personally experience one over 9 eating a bait like that. So I started to shy away from it when my focus was truly big fish. But
When
like
they toilet bowl it.
yeah, but say if you're in a tournament situation, like there are times where I feel like a topwater big bait is a great option to catch a bunch of medium fish that equate to a big 27-pound New England bag potentially. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to brush that one off too a little.
I almost turned that 27-pound bag into a 227-pound bag.
Only 200 pounds?
Yeah.
Well,
I
plus
see
the 27 pounds.
I see a comment from Vance Fishing Freak here that he's never done well on a crawler, even at night. And I'm going to tell you right now, not all crawlers are created equal. The majority of them suck at catching fish. Most of them are really good at catching fishermen because they look cool or they're JDM or this, that, and a third. I'm telling you, very few of them will actually catch them good.
I've heard that from multiple people.
Yeah.
That's why I went to the Pompadour, because for short money, it's a good bait.
Yeah, I've smoked them on the Pompadour.
Yep.
Proven. Aventa crawler. Proven. That Defiant prototype. Proven.
See, I want that. I want a big boy crawler.
Big boy crawlers, man. That's where it's at.
You can upgrade your rod now.
No, I'm good. I got a heavy duty rod. I got 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's all good. Actually, in all fairness, I kind of want a 4th Swimbait rod. I really hope my wife isn't listening right now. Because now I've got 4 of those Super Duty 300s from Lose, and I love that reel. And I'm like, my intention was to sell that 4th one I have because I only got 3 rods. And I'm like, or I could just call Lose and get a 4th rod.
I think you should do that.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. There's nothing wrong with having more rods,
We're bad
right?
for each other.
We are. We're terrible. Well, I mean, in all fairness, Lose makes it easy being our sponsor, so we get hooked up. But yeah, no, I got to make that happen.
Still expensive.
Only have once. Anyway, you derailed him. Now
I'm sorry.
Get back on track. It's your fault.
I'm
Fix
derailed.
It. Fix it. Still feeling that jig.
That was a great part. Thank you guys for sharing that.
You're welcome. I'm just trying to think if we can. You know what? Let's turn it back to the chat really quick because what was it? Oh, damn it! I just missed it. There was a question. South Jersey. What about Magnum Jitterbugs, Oliver?
Well, here's a fun fact. I've never caught a fish on any kind of jitterbug style bait in my life.
Me neither.
I
I
did
went and bought
when I was
one
a
of
kid.
the freaking giant ones.
I remember that. That wasn't that long ago.
No, it has like 12 trebles on it. And it couldn't hook a fish. It's terrible.
Are they trying to eat it, though?
I got hit once
Huh.
in a pond that I could literally go and throw this exact rat at any time of the day or night and catch 15, 20 fish in like 2 hours. Ridiculous.
That's awesome.
There you go. All right. So before we go further down into other different baits, there's a couple of questions here in the chat. We'll try and bounce back and forth between us as we're going. Tyler Phillips, who incidentally is also from Swimbait Scrutiny, where they did the collaboration there with the OD Rat, wants to know what's your favorite cold water swim baits?
Man, it's honestly a lot of the same baits. Whether it's a soft bait like a Defiant or whether that's a glide bait, I really don't find myself digging a specific style of bait based on water temperature as a factor. How I fish those baits is going to change, but the baits themselves are the same baits I'm throwing in warm water.
Are you more comfortable with a specific bait in cold water compared to
Nope.
others?
I'm comfortable with just about all of them except some topwater style baits because I feel more confident that they'd be or be more willing to come break that plane of the surface of the water when it's warmer, at least if there's a warming trend.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be necessarily warm, but if there's a warming trend, they can find themselves shallow and willing to eat on top. But other than that, I'm throwing the same baits that you guys are seeing me posting on my social media, the same baits that are on rotation on the deck of my boat. Like, I'm not hiding anything. Like you see a lot of the same things. How I apply them, swim them, present them, that might change due to the water temp. But I mean, you guys have proven it to me over and over again over the years. Like it doesn't matter if that water's 37 degrees, they can be willing to eat a bait.
Oh yeah, and they do. They have to eat. It's not like they're just down there not eating, hibernating.
Yep.
Right. I like it.
Whether they're in 60 feet of water or 2 feet of water.
Yeah.
So, all right, here there was another question related to that. My brain's gone because I was reading another question. This is a good one from my buddy Chad. Do you fish the standards of what the bait was made for? slow retrieve to get them to wake or glide, or do you play with them, like pull the rod to get the bait to twist and spin and get that reaction strike while you have followers?
I've always pushed the limits of whatever the concept was when these baits are developed. Let's take the Megabass iSlide 262, for example. They pretty much designed that thing for a slow roll, tight glide action. First thing I did, I just started ripping it around, jerking it, like burning it. I am more than willing to push these baits beyond what the creators envisioned. And I've discovered a lot of different applications for a multitude of baits, standard or big bait, that blew a lot of those creators' minds. Like, you're fishing it how? And I'm like, well, it's just like this. Boom, fish, boom, fish. It's like, oh, wow, it's crazy. We didn't design it to do that. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, you designed it to do what it also does well, whatever that may be. But it doesn't matter if it's a buzz bait or a spinner bait or a small little 3-inch swim bait or a giant wake bait or whatever. I am always experimenting with my presentation. And I let those fish literally show me what works and what doesn't before I adjust. So having an open mind has definitely benefited my fishing. And it's not the bait a lot of times, guys. Like, you've seen some guys do some incredible things with specific baits, but it wasn't that bait alone that resulted in those guys hoisting up the biggest fish of their life, or a 27-pound bag out of the Northeast, or whatever it may be. There's so much more than that. The bait is a small part of that equation, but if you don't understand all of those subtle complexities, you're only really tapping into a small percentage of the potential of any of these baits. Like, yep. Honestly, like a younger version of myself, I bought my first Gangcraft 230 and swam it in a local lake, and I'm just like, it's kind of a tight glide. Like, I don't like it. And stopped fishing them for a long time. Yep. And then the last few years, I come back to it because it's slightly fallen out of favor. It's out of the rotation of a lot of guys, especially in areas that get a lot of big bait pressure. So what's old is new again. Yep. So I'm showing these things another profile that they haven't seen in 5 to 10 years. This is an old bait. This is like a 15, maybe even close to 20-year-old unchanged glide bait design. And to go out there and fish this thing so many different ways than that closed-minded younger version of myself that made that terrible assessment. Like, man, I've been busting their ass with this thing the last few weeks on multiple sizes, on floaters, on slow sink versions, fishing it fast, fishing it slow, just everything in between. So that's a prime example of not cheating yourself out of what these baits are capable of doing. You just got to go out and try it. Like the things that I'm doing, like there was no YouTube video still of anybody showing us what we're doing with this thing. Like, I'm just going out there and trying it. Right.
It's like jigs. I mean, the jigs don't come with like a little card telling you how to fish it.
Yeah, man, fish it like a jig in that manner, right?
Maybe like that one.
Two amazing jig fishermen probably fish the exact same jig 2 different ways most of the time.
Absolutely.
They do it every weekend.
I say that's literally us every weekend. But that's why we usually do well in tournaments when the two of us fish together too, because especially whatever we dial in on, we're both so comfortable fishing like 2 very wildly different cadences. Mm-hmm. But once one of us locks in on whatever that is, we like, it doesn't matter if it's painfully slow or like aggressively fast. The other one can just make that adjustment. Like, oh, doing that?
What's painfully slow?
Painfully slow.
I don't know that feeling.
No, wait, well, you're right. I've come around. There is no more painfully slow. It's a different story when you can dead stick a bait in front of a fish's face for 90 seconds and watch him just kiss it. Oh, okay, maybe I just get 5-6 times over 90 seconds before it bites, and it's a 4-pound smallmouth. You're like, okay, yeah, see, it's worth the wait, people. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right on that, though, Oliver, about just the myriad number of ways that it can be done.
Yeah, I growing up in Southern California and having to pretty much play musical chairs on all our bodies of water and wait for that guy to move off the third spot on the lake so you can have a turn on it, really gave me a lot of confidence fishing behind guys. And even guys throwing the same bait a lot of times, because like they were usually closed-minded in how they fish that bait, whatever it was. So I would follow up with that same bait, fish it this completely different way, and find success, even when they've already seen that same bait come by that same area.
Like it.
Yeah.
I mean, we still do that a lot too.
We do. Just for traditional stuff, because we're not good at the big bait. Not yet. We're getting there.
I've gotten better.
We both have. You've gotten better at faster than I have, because your glide game has taken off, whereas I'm still spending money and not getting any results. But
Well, you gotta use the baits you buy.
I did.
I bought one. I'm gonna use it till it fucking breaks in half.
Well, that's why I got the other one. The bait Sanity. Remind me again. Sorry, Oliver. The bait Sanity glide. It's like about $80.
Yeah, you got the Gen 2, you got the Explorer Gill.
Yes.
You got I'm actually going to be making an announcement that Bait Sanity is going to be one of my new brand partners.
Nice.
Going forward. So excited to continue throwing those baits. I think one of the shops that is going to be at the Expo will have them on hand. So
probably MGC.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. Yep.
And they're big on Swimbait. I mean, that's like pretty much all they do.
Yeah.
They carry everything for it. Like their selection they had was amazing. Yeah, that's where he got his depths. That's where I got my bait Sanity. That's where I've got a bunch of HUDs in the past. Like they're great for that stuff.
Yeah, we just talked about having the struggle of figuring out what I'm gonna pack, right? And I'm trying to figure out like this is awesome packaging, like this antidote glide, but like how do I travel with a bunch of these tubes?
Well, this guy?
Yeah, man. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Jesus,
dude.
Whoa, I want that. Oh, I want that trout.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm buying one of those.
So I spent a couple hours organizing that box. I've got the 7-inch antidotes. I got the Gen 2 9-inch glides in there, and this is a good one that I feel people are still sleeping on. Get yourself some coffee, guys, because you guys can't keep sleeping on this Explorer Gill. Ooh. I was absolutely waxing fish in February on this thing because I don't care what body of water you're on. If there's sunfish of some kind and largemouth and smallmouth bass, dude, they're eating them.
I would say so. Pretty much everywhere in New England. Good.
Where you're gonna find bass, honestly, and it's a great mid-sized big bait. The ability for you to change out the tails is pretty amazing. And I'm telling you right now, those boot tail accessories that come with both those baits make these things do things underwater I've never seen any other bait do. Now, that's a big part of why I feel I've been successful with them in the short time that I've actually been able to fish them. So, yeah, check that out. I mean, dude, it's crazy. You don't have to pay $200 for a bait that catches them.
Right.
Which is very appealing to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
For damn sure.
Yeah. So shout out to my man Fahad at Bait Sanity. I'm excited to catch all kinds of things on those baits, including hopefully some toothy boys up your guys' way this summer. I've been from those guys way too long. Yeah.
Well, congrats on that, man. I'm glad that worked out for you guys, and you're continuing to make strides and progressions there. Yeah, man, it's been a great season so far, even though the fishing has been borderline tough. Yeah, lots of cool stuff in the mix and for the future. Yep. All right, so we covered Topwater. Really, did we get into anything else yet? We really just kind of did a deep dive on Topwater, but like the different variations on them. Mm-hmm. There's a specific direction I want to go with this. I was going to say glides next, but I have something. But there's 2 questions in the chat that I want to address because they're good and it'll probably take a few more minutes. South Jersey did ask if I can, you know what? I keep forgetting I have this option here. How much do you believe in modifying your big baits, like shaving certain baits joints down or making a slow float, suspend, stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really depends on the necessity. To be honest, if I don't have to modify a bait, like I'm going that route because I want to be fishing it, not sitting here toying with it or the 20 in the box. Like I just don't have the time for it. So as far as like shaving joints and all that, I kind of got away from all of that because then you're going to obviously affect the swimming action of that bait. But to be able to duplicate it with another bait can be a struggle.
Right.
It's a kind of a similar struggle when you're getting 2, resin baits that swim differently or 2 wood baits that swim differently and expecting the same swim from a different bait. So I kind of got away from that. I lean more towards fishing baits like a bait Sanity or a Gancraft or an iSlide that are made out of ABS plastic where I know what I'm going to, or I know what to expect when I tie that thing on and swim it. So if there's a certain style of swim or whatever, I'm going to lean towards a bait that's going to be close to that instead of sitting there modding a bait to get it to do something similar. Does that make sense?
Yep. Makes sense to me.
But as far as like modding things like floaters to get them suspend or slow sink to sink faster, I do that all the time. And if you guys haven't already, oh my God, I just saw them. Here they are. As you can tell, I probably hoarded the entire batch.
Jesus.
That's a long time to drink.
Gancraft makes these sinking helpers, as they call them, and they're weight tuning strips. And unlike the old school Storm ones that were revolutionary in 1987 that stay on for like half an hour.
I was going to say 20 minutes.
These will actually stick to your baits. And I keep promising my Patreon guys I'd actually shoot this video. So I'm going to do that tonight for them and upload it. But with weights like this, I can take like a tiny clash. And actually, I figured out the perfect weighting to take a tiny clash, pull out the bill, and due to the placement of these sinking helpers, I can actually get it to truly glide like pretty far for even the smaller tiny clash size.
Nice.
I do that kind of stuff quite a bit, and that came out of necessity. I was actually catching them on a KGB Chad Shad really good on day 1 of the opens on Smith Lake and Norman, and ended up busting the one Chad Shad I had for each one of those tournaments into a dock.
Oh no!
Pretty balls to the wall. But because I didn't have another one, I had to pivot during the tournament, try to make this tiny clash do something kind of close. And actually, I found it did something completely different that might have been even better because now I got another little wrinkle there to add to my game. So I do find myself having to mod baits on the fly at times. But yeah, Gancraft, sinking helpers, there's probably got to be some dealers online. I mean, I would check with Ben at the Hookup Tackle. He's got a bunch of JDM stuff, but an internet search would probably be beneficial too. And it comes with like everything from like a 0.3 grams, 0.5 grams, 0.7 grams, 1 gram, 2 grams, and 4 grams, which is nice. Because like if you're trying to weight like a big ass glide bait, like a iSlide 262, like you could sit there like using a whole suspend strip package trying to get it on there. But the 4 gram one has been money because I can just throw one strip on there and get what I need out of these weights. So they're by far the best tuning weights I've ever used, and I've used those Zapu ones as well. But I don't like that bright orange stuff. I'm not too big on like the whole tracers on top of the bait. I feel for me that's too much of a distraction, and I feel like that tends to make people fixate on having to see your bait in order to fish it properly. I think that teaches bad mechanics in those situations where you can't see your bait.
I would agree with that.
That's why starting to fish jigs first is good, because you never see that thing.
Right.
Come out west. We got some clear water. You'll see them eat it at 5-10 feet.
Oh, we got that here.
Yeah, I know you guys do.
I do
But
want to
yeah,
come out there someday, though.
that's a great question. Sorry I went on that crazy deep dive, but
No, that's why we're asking.
Yep.
We're getting close here on time. All right, so one more question, then I want to get to two more specific types of baits, and then we can hopefully touch on gear options before we go in, like, and I think that'll put us pretty close to an hour. So my buddy David here, NE Bass Addict, who is a huge fan of you, by the way,
Yeah, Jesus.
he asked, Wake and Cranks are the jam for us New England swim baiters. Why do we never see you throwing build baits? It's always a glide or a soft bait.
Well, that goes back to my focus for a lot of these years. Like I said, I found the bigger fish I was catching typically were not on top. So whether that was a big wake bait up on the surface or a crank down, I haven't seen a whole lot of success with big fish. And big is relative, right? So up where you guys are at, I'd call something like over 6.5 pounds, like truly big.
Yeah, pretty much anything over 6.5 to 7
Yeah.
pounds is
That-
a giant.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's accurate. Like 5 to 6, like that's a big fish, but
Oh,
a
yeah.
6+, that's a true giant in
Yeah.
New England.
So there's a threshold
Yep.
of what size fish I find will eat a style of bait. But since I was like fishing the opens and looking for 5 of those mediums, I found myself fishing a crank down like a Tiny Clash or a Clash 9 quite a bit. And the wake bait didn't really come into play because I can't fish it as quickly to cover, gosh.
Yeah, you kind of got to take your time with those.
Yeah, you got to have those fish pretty much located and somewhat dialed to their mood to coax a strike on a wake bait. You got to fish kind of slow and methodical a lot of times, and I didn't have that ability to do that when I'm fishing a brand new body of water like Lake Norman, where I was running 27 miles to my first area and trying to eliminate all that dead water in between.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So that's why you don't see a ton of content in the past with those two categories of baits. But I mean, gosh, on the Big Bass Dreams channel, there's cast to catch footage of me busting fish in the opens, in the events on crankdowns like a DRT Tiny Clash.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that's heavy up in the Northeast, but like, why aren't more of you guys throwing a soft bait like a Mag Draft or a Defiant? Like, that's what I want to know. Like,
I have an entire Plano
Let me just
3700.
start handing you all my mag drafts. Hang on.
So-
there's one.
here's the thing: you're probably
another
going
one.
to get less bites
I got
on
more.
big soft bait, but your quality is going to go up. So if you're looking to break that threshold of 6.5 pounds in New England, throw a big ass soft bait. And like those 8-inch baits are cute, but throw the 10-inch mag draft. Throw
They
the
make a 10?
Yes, that's the only one I used to throw.
So
I didn't
Throw
know
a
that.
Defiant 247. Like throw a big ass bait because those bigger fish are eating big herring. They're eating big sunfish. They're eating each other. They're eating baby
That's why I
carp.
bought this freaking thing.
Yeah, that's more the class of bait you should be throwing to
I'm going for a state record here. And I'm not kidding.
I know, right? No, legit though. Like we're trophy chasing again hard this spring. There's a reason. I mean, we got lucky. Lucky on timing, but we have to recognize the time and effort that we've put in to be able to recognize what we stumbled into that 27-pound day and being able to take advantage of it, because it didn't happen like just right off the bat. It took us several hours of going around the lake and studying, like, okay, we had like our 3 high probability areas, and then figuring it out, like, oh, okay, well, like, starting to put pieces of the puzzle together. This area didn't pan out at all. This is starting to show promise. And we stumbled into that first fish. I was the first one to get the first 5 of the day. It was 5.5. It was actually the second biggest fish we caught for the day. Mm-hmm. And then just, we got lucky again for timing that the weather was driving them up into that shallow flat, but we have the skills and experience that we knew what we were doing, so we could take advantage of the situation that was provided to us for the timing of that day, and had a magical day. There was a reason I was going somewhere with that. I wasn't just trying to freaking talk hype about us.
I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't know. There was something he said, and I was like, yeah, I got this. No. I don't even remember now. It's gone. But in regards to your point, Oliver, about, fishing, soft body swim baits, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is literally where I want to go next with this before we run out of too much time. Let's expand on soft bodies, because when, up here in the Northeast, we talk about soft bodies. Like, one of my go-tos at first was, the Beast Coast Creep. This is as, basic as it gets for a soft body that, it comes in some amazing colors. Up here in the Northeast, yellow perch is big, and his 6.5-inch creep yellow perch is one of the best out there for like mass-produced soft body. You can get this very, very easily. Secondary to that, I'm going to show off one. You got the burrito baits. The hell is that?
Looks like a crappie to me.
No, that's the. I do have a crappie. No, that's the. That's his rendition of a rainbow trout, kind of.
Oh yeah.
What the hell is that bait called? I know it's burrito. It's escaping me. Like I know. Thank you. Like hold that. Like I know that's the burrito gill. This one is very hard to come by. But this is only like a 5-inch swim bait. It's like 2 ounces, and it's fun, and it swims awesome, and it fishes like a jig when you fish on the bottom. You got those. You got local guys like, Real Prey, also out of Mass, and he makes these, poured baits, and he's got a ton of different variations on them. Then you got the Working Class Citizen, Working Class Zero, the Citizen 7. Is that the Citizen?
That looks like the 7, yeah.
My brain's not there. Anyway, this is like things we're much more well versed in. And then of course you got Huddleston. The very first big swim bait I ever bought was 6 or 7 years ago. It was right after Huddleston came out with the Deluxe 68, so that weedless version of their 6-inch swim bait. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to fish bigger baits, and that looks like right up my alley. I remember buying it before him and I even started fishing together. It was when my buddy Josh and I started fishing. But anyway.
I saw it. I was like, what the hell is going to eat that freaking thing? Get the hell out of here.
Guy now
for whales.
Yes.
But Baca, thank you. Jesus, the burrito Baca. So that's more of kind of our territory of soft body swim baits. I don't have it here, but I do have an 8-inch Huddleston. Speaking of modifying baits, it is a rate of fall 5. I wanted something a little bit heavier. I took 2 5/32 snail weights and put them. The best that I thought was the right spot to stuff these things, and that thing still sinks dead even, but at like a much faster rate. Now it's more like a rate of fall 15 almost, which for me suits my style. But let's expand on that. The soft body aspects. What are your go-tos? What are the pros and cons of different styles? Versus something like the burrito where there's a chunk of lead in there with the jig hook, or pre-molded, versus something like the Working Class Zero where you have to put a belly weighted hook. Same deal with the Beast Coast. Let's dive into that.
Sure.
Sure. He's over there grabbing a freaking Rubbermaid.
Yeah.
So that's a little crack rock that gets a lot of guys started on this big bait craze, right? It's a 6-inch mag draft.
Oh, crack.
Fantastic bait for just getting bites.
Yep.
But you guys need to put that thing down after you catch a couple and throw his bigger brother. This is
I need that.
Okay. And
my wallet's crying right now.
It's really, dude, that's a $29.99 bait.
Yeah, but I'm gonna buy like 8 of them because I want every variation of trout pattern that they have for all of our designated trout ponds here in New Hampshire, and I'm gonna get bit on it.
It's a proven bait. It is a 1-speed bait for the most part. People will complain, "Oh, I can only fish it at 1 speed." Well, throw it when those fish want it at that speed. It's really that simple. Guys.
Do they make those in the freestyle, or is it just the mag?
No, only the 6 inches available in the freestyle. But there is a mod that you can do on the Big Bass Dreams channel that you can look up, where we do mod the 8 and 10 inch. That gave inspiration for the 6-inch freestyle.
Nice.
All right, well, I'm gonna go watch that.
It can be done. It can be done successfully and cheaply, especially now with those BKK Titan Diver Plus hooks. You have the ability to put a 10, 12, 14-aught weedless swim bait hook into these things. And it's an amazing option to have these days. Like, you can also put an underspin spinner on it or take it off. There's interchangeable weights. I actually just ordered some more weights that I'm trying to organize. Let's see.
Wish I could make my screen bigger so I could see exactly what's back there.
Lots.
They actually have these interchangeable weights for
Oh
that
yeah.
diver.
Oh, nice.
So if you wanted to add more weight, instead of having to be stuck with whatever the fixed weight was on the other hook options, now you can really truly customize your presentation to these fish. So like someone like you who wants a bait that sinks out a little bit faster, like it's as simple as pulling out those 2 silicone stoppers on the shank of the hook, swapping out the weight and shoving them back in, you're fishing. And then the other style of bait that I pretty much always have tied on is a bait like a Defiant. And those of you guys that have had success, a lot of success on a Huddleston or a Magnum baitsmith, as they used to be called, I think they're hog hunters now. Like I've had incredible success with both of those baits, but I've had a lot of heartbreak on both of them as well. So that's why the line through system on this particular bait is the next advancement. I've lost literally 1 fish out of the 5 or 6 years I've been throwing this bait, and that just happened.
Because the bait can get away from the hook.
That's right. When they come up and they shake their heads, like that's
There's no weight behind it.
Bye. When you have a fixed hook to a heavy bait, 2 to 6 ounce bait, like the likelihood of them being able to throw it is very high. But because this bait actually slides up the line, they lose a ton of that leverage.
Yep.
So your landing percentage is just going to go through the roof. And when you're targeting these bigger fish that eat the soft bait, like, man, in my opinion, there's very little margin for error in my mind that I want to experience when the right one eats that bait.
That's why I boat flipped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's first fish.
I don't fuck around. I just boat flip everything.
What do we weigh that? Was it 3.5?
I don't even know.
So it wasn't a big fish, but it wasn't small either. And it's coming in. I'm trying to grab the net, and he's like, "Nope, flip."
What's the biggest boat fish or biggest fish you boat flipped?
Was it that 5-pound smallie?
Damn.
Yeah, dude, it was his PB, and he boat flipped it.
I don't give a shit. If it's coming up at me and he's not ready, I'm flipping that thing. I don't care.
He's like laughing, like eyes squinted to look up. He looks at me, he's like, "Oh shit, that's a big fish." We waited. PB.
Whoops.
Been chasing that fish his whole life.
There it is. Oh wow, that's actually pretty big. Should have probably got the net for that one.
Hey man, I truly believe, like, if that's what you feel is your greatest percentage to land that fish is, you don't do it gratuitously, right? You're not like freaking lifting that fish 10 feet in the air and like trying to drop it first. Like, if you're just trying to legitimately get that fish in after all the hard work and time and money we spend, like, dude, good on you. Go for it.
I like doing it. It's fun.
Yeah,
it adds to the excitement.
That's one way to put it.
I hate reading comments from people that it's like the guys that tell someone how to treat their significant other. Like, bro, you worry about your own life.
Right.
Like, anyways.
Don't tell me not to boat flip. I'll boat flip you. How about that?
My man, John, hey, here's a little word of advice. Stop throwing that bait.
Oh, yeah. That's
At least that particular one. Cut it off, sell it, trade it, get rid of that thing.
Yep.
Don't give a damn.
So, for your soft bodies,
looks like Freddie Jackson.
What are you doing most often with them? Like, is it because you're using basically an underhooked treble hook? Are you primarily just like straight swimming it while adding some variation to your retrieve? Or
here's the thing, like, this bait is so damn versatile. I'm rigging it with top hook options. I'm rigging it with belly hook options. I even figured out a way to rig a front stinger hook for the headshot, guys.
Oh.
Okay, and there's like a 45-minute deep dive video on my personal YouTube channel if you guys care to go watch that, with actual real world fish catch references tied in. I'm not just making all of this stuff in my head out of thin air. It's through actual observation and adjustment. But the same way we talked earlier about varying your retrieve and experimenting with the limits of what these baits can do, I'm doing that with this bait. There are times when you can crawl this thing at a snail's pace, slow rolling it, and that can be the deal. I find that not to be, because so many people do that. Having to fish behind guys, like, I'm not going to do exactly what I saw 4 other people doing.
Yeah.
I find myself dead sticking it completely on the bottom as it rests upright, like a lot of real fish tend to do, and getting bit, fishing it more like a football jig than what people perceive how you can fish a swim bait,
That's what
or
about that.
or even ripping it around and getting a really erratic burst of speed and action out of this thing, and then as it starts to sink, it'll actually like swim down and do this little Senko wobble.
Mm-hmm.
And a
No
lot
kidding.
of my bites come doing that. And then there are a lot of bites where I'm just like seriously like just burning this thing straight back to the boat. Muskies and pike love that retrieve
Oh,
too.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, but largemouth and smallies do too.
Yep.
Like there are times when you cannot outwind them with a high gear like reel. It's pretty amazing what these fish are capable of doing when they want your bait.
I've never knew how fast a largemouth could actually be until last year. I was fishing this canal that's maybe 20 feet wide, and I saw a largemouth like a bluegill came into this largemouth's bed, and it took off after that bluegill, and it was across to the other bank and back within like 2.5 seconds. I was like, whoa, holy shit, that was fast.
Yeah,
Like,
man, they're incredible little athletes.
insane.
Oh yeah.
In short bursts of speed, like they're fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost lightning fast. And big shout out to my man Pew PURN. I still do have that Citizen you sent me, bro. It's in the boat everywhere
That's awesome.
I go. So it's one step away. So I appreciate
You haven't thrown it yet?
No.
Oh,
No.
man.
Typically if I'm throwing a weedless bait, I'm throwing a mag draft.
Yeah.
Oh yep.
I fished this thing like a jig.
Yeah.
Dragging it.
We had good. You had much better success doing that last year than I did, but I followed him. I copied him. I'm like, watching him catch fish. What are you doing? He's like, I'm just fishing like a jig. I'm like, okay. Repeat.
They're great baits. Obviously, a lot of fish have been caught on them. I'm just not personally a fan of like either round hard baits. Anything round, I'm out.
Yep.
And anything tall, soft bait wise, like I'm out.
Yeah.
My hookup to landing percentage doesn't seem to be as high when it's not those two things. So that's why you don't really see me throwing those tall profile soft baits, even like that burrito gill that you were just showing. Like I wouldn't fish that.
I wouldn't either.
I got 2 years ago now.
Weird mouthful, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
it's not anything against the burrito bait. Like that's an awesome looking bait, and I know it catches fish. But for my application, I'm probably gonna throw something a little bit softer. And dude, to be honest, what I found to be a badass little soft bluegill swim bait is that 13 Coalition sunfish.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I got somewhere here. But even the shad too, which is really similar. I'm just gonna show you that because I got them handy. It's a very soft plastic. Actually, look, I got one of each here.
Oh yeah. Oh dear.
Oh,
That's
those
awesome.
are really
Here's
sick.
the difference. When a fish eats these things, it
It's
compresses.
straight up. Yep.
And when you bang them on a braid to short fluorocarbon leader combination, is which it's what I prefer to throw those baits on. My hookup percentage is very high.
Nice.
That's what you do.
So
You do that
that's
great, dude.
that's something I'm always cognizant of. I'm just trying to suck less, guys.
That's
Those
one way
fish
to put
don't
it.
need any more help from me. Like I suck plenty. Yeah, and
I think
and
we all
I've seen
suck a
other
lot.
burrito
do.
baits that actually have a thinner profile, right? Not one that isn't as tall. I would much rather throw that bait than that really tall bluegill profile.
Right, like that. Yeah, that's the other burrito. That's a much skinnier version. I know guys are like that's one of the go-tos for Bacharach. Is throwing these guys around just in different profiles, but all right, different color schemes.
That's like throwing 20s at the dance club. Like, come on.
I can't wait to go to Bacharach.
I thought you were going to say you can't wait to go to the club. What the
Oh yeah,
I got a stack on ones, baby.
I've got about 10 minutes worth of fun here, boys. Let's make it count.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Jesus. All right. We've already hit the hour mark, so let's see if we can rifle through a couple of things. We covered everything for baits. We didn't really talk about glides, but we talked about that the last time we had the stream. So, like, just how much do we really need to reiterate on
And
that?
here's the thing. If you guys are missing out on all of these questions, come hang out at the show in person next weekend.
April
Okay.
9th through 10th,
I'll
Marlboro,
be
Mass.
Lakeside Outfitters booth, there to just answer a bunch of these questions. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. But let's try to rifle through a bunch of these if we can.
Okay, so I guess the one last thing we didn't really dive into was glides, but I know that's something that you have talked about a ton on your own channel and everything with Big Bass Dreams. I know we talked about it last time we had you joined us on our show. So I guess just from a high level point, I'm just trying to think like what would be a good way to wrap up glides in general.
Fish them.
Right, but yeah, fish them. If you had a beginner coming up to you and say, okay, I just got my first glide, and say he's either got a Depths 250 and then he also got something smaller like the TK Clash, right? Which is not huge but not small. Like what would you recommend for like how are they going to fish them? Like fuck it. Throw away even those specific examples. In general, first time person throwing a glide, what's the best tips that you can give them to get them going, to give them confidence that they're doing the right thing?
Become
Fish it like
efficient in this.
How many times have I said that? It's
literally
a
every
giant
time.
jerkbait.
He really has.
My man.
Become one with the 110 and the Ito Shiner and any other jerkbait out there. A lot of the same principles, mechanics are the same. How you apply the baits are the same.
Son of a bitch! No wonder why I can't catch a fish on a glide.
Catch my jerkbait either.
Pretty surprised over the
my
years
point.
to run into people that don't throw a jerkbait, and it's like, do you not like catching fish?
Right. Here's the problem: the fish don't like me throwing a jerkbait. Trust me, I've thrown it. I've had good years, but the last 2 years have not been good to me.
I'm telling you, a jerkbait is also one of those baits where it is not the bait. Like, I hate to throw my man Chris under the bus, but he's been with me a couple times now shooting some promotional stuff for Nomad. Once at Clear Lake last week, and then once in Texas on our way home off the road last fall. And we were fishing their new Shikari jerkbait. And, man, I was waxing them on this bait. And that bait's legit, by the way. And then he'd pick it up and throw literally on the same stretch. And he went like half an hour without a bite. And I'm watching him, and I'm like, bro, your mechanics are bad. Like, you need to hit that bait with slack and finish with with slack, because all you're doing is pulling that bait straight forward because he's winding it and like pulling it straight. There's no side-to-side lateral action coming from that bait. So his presentation and mechanics are so off. He literally didn't get a bite. And he's like, all right, man, like, here, just pick it up. I just want to see if it's me or the bait. And I pick it up, first cast. Oh, there's another one, and I wax like 5 or 6 fish on that stretch. And it's a perfect example if it's not the bait, it is the angler and how you manipulate that lure. So don't fall into this whole trap of like you needing whatever that freaking magic bait is. Like that shouldn't be an excuse, because there are plenty of people that have that magic bait that aren't doing jack with it. Like, they are not catching those fish. But yeah, if you want to learn a glide bait, you first must be proficient with a jerkbait, in my opinion.
Fuck. Never gonna get there. I was really good with the jerkbait for a really short period of time after years of struggling, and then I'm back in the struggle bus with it.
I mean, that's something I go over on my personal training sessions on one-on-one sessions on the Dream Machine. It's like, okay, I want to learn glide bait fishing. Well, it's like, well, when's the last time you threw a jerkbait? You throw a jerkbait? Like, no. It's like, well, I hate to tell you this, but I'm not going to let you throw a glide bait until we go and catch some fish on a jerkbait.
Yeah.
And after we go back, reset some fundamentals, build good mechanics, good habits, they get to observe fish behavior and how they're engaging with the jerkbait. Okay, now they got some real-world experience to pull from. Okay, now we go to a mid-sized glide, like a Ice Slide 185. Like, seriously, like, not that much bigger than a Shiner, right? And how we apply this bait is really similar to how we apply to that bait. And because they've now got real-world experience, they can make more subtle, minute adjustments as I instruct them how to swim the bait with either just the reel or the tip or a combination of the reel and tip, paying attention to their slack, which is huge. Right, you throw too much slack into a glide bait, it's going to run itself over and foul hook the front hook.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't throw enough slack, it's not going to travel left or right, just like we talked about with that Shikari jerkbait. And you have to learn those subtle nuances through a traditional technique to build experience. So when you step up to a bigger glide bait, you're going to make the most out of those fewer engagements. And then after you get some success and some confidence built on that mid-sized glide bait like that 185 eye slide or a Gancraft 178, then you go up another size. You go up to that Gancraft 230 or a Bait Sanity 9-inch Explorer glide. And now you've got real experience to where you won't suck when the biggest fish of your life potentially eats this giant glide bait. Don't skip the fundamentals, man. It's just like any other sport. Nobody wants to pick up the guy that just pulls up from 3 and airballs every time. Bro, you're not even hitting the backboard. I see that crap all the time in fishing, and it drives me crazy, man.
We've seen our fair share of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the bait. Learn how to put that ball in the hoop first.
Yep. Spot on, man.
Ways, and it's gonna make you a better glide bait fisherman and a less terrible pickup basketball player.
Well, I'm not going to get any better at basketball. So.
Andrew's not good at sports balls.
No, I know how to fish and skateboard.
Real quick, Chad, thank you very much for the $20 donation, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Hey, you guys should all be supporting these boys every week. What they do is a lot of work. I know because we do it too.
Yep.
So if you guys are actually gaining to benefit from these live streams, dude, support these guys. They're taking time out of their busy schedules. The wives and the girlfriends are pissed. The dog's all sad because he's not getting any more treats.
I gave him a piece of sausage off my pizza.
Bravo to you guys. You guys are affecting the culture in a good way, man. So,
oh, man, thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
To pay it forward, again, just for those that missed it earlier, if you guys are interested, Oliver does have a Patreon. So if you guys are interested in that, it's linked right up there in the chat. It's down in the video description below. Go over, check it out, sign up. You get all the juicy details, though. He's been very awesome for us for this stream, and he's been sharing a lot of info that otherwise you wouldn't get.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I tend to be more
Patreon.
open on these live streams than I am on any other platform, especially on ours, because ours are only up publicly while they're live.
Yep.
Other than that, they live exclusively on my Patreon. So if you want to watch, 50, 100 episodes back into the past with this level of detail, it's an easy $5 a month.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go give him your money, everybody.
Spend it. Spend it all.
Yeah, I need to buy more sticky weights, man. Come on.
Yeah. I'm going to send you a pack of freaking storms.
Oh, man. All right, last but not least, because this should be pretty quick. I really hope it is. Let's make it quick, because I know you want to be close to an hour. It's been an hour and 10 minutes now. Gear. One of the things we didn't really talk about.
Okay.
I know, reels are kind of straightforward. Let's start with reels, because I feel like that's easy as far as, there's a whole, Lose Super Duty 300 is a phenomenal reel. I can speak highly to that. Shimano, Daiwa, they all make phenomenal heavy-duty series reels. As far as gear ratio goes, do you use a variety of them, or are you primarily sticking with one low to mid-range gear ratio?
I am using a variety of reels, and I'm only going to talk on reels that I have personal experience with. And now that I'm a free agent this year, as far as my brand partnerships, I'm not beholden to only talking about Daiwa or Megabass or whatever.
Yep.
So I busted a lot of fish up with a Shimano Conquest. That's almost like cheating as far as that oversized gear box and all that Shimano bicycle gearing technology they utilize in that thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a $600 reel. So, I found myself getting away from that. I caught a lot of fish on the Trank series. I caught a lot of fish on the Daiwa Tatula 300, the Daiwa Lexus. I've been catching a lot of fish on the 13 A3 series reels. So those are all at least like 300 size reels. Somebody asked the question if they can get away with a 200. And when you're targeting the potential fish of your lifetime, you shouldn't have to be worrying about getting away with anything.
Yep.
Spend a little bit more money, get the right tools for the job. You don't want to sacrifice winding power. I was cringing watching my friend Nick throwing a Shimano Cardiff as that thing was like falling apart when he was just fishing the bait, let alone when a fish ate it. And I was like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing right now? So much anxiety. And it's not even my like reel or my issue. Do yourself a favor, get yourself a proven reel that's capable of locking down the drag. If that's your style, like mine, like I lock my drags and punk these fish, especially those Northeast fish. I guarantee you, there isn't a single bass in the Northeast that can overpower me. And as long as I'm fishing a heavy enough line, like a Defiant 28 or 35 pound fluorocarbon, and I can lock that drag to where it doesn't slip when I set the hook in her, and
Like a bluefin.
Yeah, pin her against the water pressure. Like they're effed. They're in the boat or in the net quick.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a drag. Like, dude, that Concept 13 has like 44 pounds of drag or something.
Jesus.
The Tatula I know has got like at least 25. So you're gonna need at least like 15 to 20 on the low end, because your drags will slip when you both go to set the hook and then during the fight, which is like the worst 2 times for it to ever happen.
Yeah.
So as far as gear goes, hard baits, use a softer, more parabolic rod. Megabass Levante Leviathan's a really nice soft rod. For soft baits like this Defiant or a Mag Draft, I like a fast taper rod, so like an oversized jig rod.
Yep.
Okay, something very fast taper like Megabass Orochi Double X Leviathan, or even, dude, I was impressed with that 13 Omen series of Swimbait rods. Like for the soft bait,
I heard they're pretty
break
good.
the bank. So there's a ton of options out there now, which is the good news. But make sure the guys that are designing these rods for their intended application actually pick up a swim bait and throw one once in a while, instead of just like, oh, this thing's broomstick, like it can handle casting a bait. Cool, call it good. Throw a swim bait label on it and sell it. Like, okay, luck.
Yep.
Because it's gonna matter when it matters most. So lots of information. I still got like an old 2020 video. Excuse me, showcasing my current setups back then that are still applicable today. So pay attention to the details, the style of baits, and look for something comparable as far as rod ratings and actions across whatever brand, and you'll find something that works.
There you go. Do you have any more questions for him? I've got a couple more, but I want to make sure you have a chance.
No, I'm good. I'll message you.
He's had enough.
Wait, so
I'm just listening.
one thing I'm kind of curious about, like, you know, with traditional tackle, if a rod is rated, we'll say 3/8 to 1 ounce, you know, for maybe jig rod, right? It's very spot on. When it comes to swim bait fishing, how, like, is that range that the rod is rated to for ounces? Like, are you like really kind of playing around that or working inside of that, or depending upon what style of bait you're throwing, does that start to like, okay, yeah, I have a 6 ounce bait, but because of the way I throw it and the way I like to fish it, I really need a rod that's rated 10 ounces. Like, does that play into effect, or is that very situational?
No, it's very situational, and really it comes down to my personal preference and how I like to bend those rods, both when I'm fishing them and when I'm fighting fish.
Yep.
So that only comes from my own personal experience pulling on thousands of these fish on these big baits. So to expect rod manufacturers to have that kind of insight is unfair.
No, yeah.
To be honest. So I'm excited to be working on some specific rod ranges in the future that I can't talk about too much, that will be available down the line that specifically address all of those issues that you talked about. Because at most I've seen maybe 2 or 3 models in a range of rods dedicated to big baits, and there's more than 2 or 3 categories, guys. Like,
Right.
of bait size, bait style. Like, I mean, you can get away with broad stroke rod application, but if you can fine tune something, why not?
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, all right, then last but not least, to make this easy, because we're now 15 minutes over, line. You said 25 to 30 is what you
Man,
throw?
I used to think 25 was heavy until I started busting 10 and 12-inch baits off, especially when it was the only one I had. Middle of a bite where that was the only bait they were biting.
Yep.
I mean, that used to hurt, not to mention breaking on fish. So I actually jumped to 30-pound mono back in the day because that was the only option. Like, if I'm going to go more than 25-pound, like 30-pound
big game.
Maxima, yeah, either Trilene crappy big game or Maxima Ultra Green, both super
don't
wiry and full of memory, coily. You know, it just came off in those coils off your
Yeah, it looks like shit.
but it didn't break.
Never did. I pulled a freaking 10-inch tree out of a bank and pulled it to the other side of the canal.
Amazing. Yeah, and you need that confidence when you're
It's
tied up
insane.
to either your favorite bait at the time or the biggest fish of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like that?
Now, there are plenty of options. Like, the lightest I find myself fishing is 28-pound
Oh, wow.
or
Really?
4-ounce bait or heavier. I'll
Okay.
still dabble with like the 23 to 25-pound range for like a 1 to 2-ounce bait. But even then, like, I'm fishing a lot of those lighter baits now on braid to short floral leader. And my weakest part of that system is a 35-pound shock leader this long. It's all Defiant fluorocarbon that I'm fishing now. So
Okay, that was going to be the next question. Like, are you primarily fishing fluorocarbon for your leader? And if so, what brands are you most confident in right now?
totally. So I helped them develop a 28-pound, a 35-pound, and a 41-pound rated
Jesus.
fluorocarbon and
Definitely.
leaders.
Need that for punching.
Right?
And dude, no, I just literally edited a video today with 28-pound heavy cover fluoro specifically for punching behind guys fishing braid.
Hell yeah.
It's way quieter, especially in and around cover.
Yep.
And
Nice things.
there's multiple applications for that. So I don't see myself utilizing monofilament hardly ever anymore. If I need a bait to stay up, I'm utilizing Defiant braid to a short floral leader because that braid tends to have what I consider like a neutral buoyancy. It doesn't float, it doesn't sink, kind of does whatever the bait draws it or keeps it up from and kind of in that zone. But if I am trying to get a bait down deeper, I'm still fishing straight fluorocarbon. Because
Nice.
over the course of a long cast, it has the effect of drawing down either a glide bait or a bottom bouncing bait towards the bottom part of the water column.
Yep. I agree with that.
So yeah, there'll actually be some Defiant line available at Lakeside Outfitters at the show.
Nice.
I might have to grab some of that.
Yeah, because I'm
Very
probably going to talk about that braid to floral leader concept a lot because it's very foreign to a lot of people still, especially in big baits. And once you get over the hurdle and challenge of casting your bait off, because it's super heavy and you got a braid backlash, which we all get,
Mm-hmm.
and you're only fishing 50 or 60-pound braid, if you just jump up to 70, 80, or 100, that stops happening.
Right.
So you at least get over the mental hurdle of losing your favorite bait, let alone breaking off on a hook set on a big fish. And I've gotten so comfortable fishing braid to floral, especially around shallow vegetation like what you guys have a ton of in the Northeast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I did it a lot in Florida. I did it muskie fishing. I did it pike fishing. I did it barramundi fishing. It's proven. Really big.
Barramundi?
Oh, man. That's
Come on.
Imagine if a fish got as big as a striped bass, like legit as big as like a 70, 80-pound striped bass,
Barramundi, you're sick.
jumped like a smallmouth, and like to live where largemouth do. Like, let's say a 1-foot weed flat. You'd have a barramundi.
That was... Settle down there.
Might be the ultimate fun game fish.
Oh, those
Yeah,
look.
you guys
Oh.
got to get down under it and target them at one point in your
No,
life.
if I'm going down there, I'm going for GT.
Either
Oh,
one, dude.
boy.
Just take me. Let's go. I'm gonna make that either one of those happen.
No, I'll go for both.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
Anyway, you gotta go to
Two
bed.
things. I know. I got one last question for you. It's really easy, but real first, Carla, Andrew's mom. Thank you very much for the donation, Carla.
Thanks.
We appreciate you.
She's a
The
sweetheart.
real
She
MVP,
is.
Carla's mom.
Yeah. So last question the chat had for you, and I promise to cut you loose after this. Lead or not? What are you tying for your leaders?
So one of the things that I talk about on my Patreon that I don't talk about publicly is I'm tying an Alberto knot for anything under 50 pounds. So if I'm
Nice.
fishing
My man.
50 or 50 and above, I'm tying an FG knot just simply because the Alberto won't cinch.
Yep.
Okay. But I don't have failures on my Alberto knot from finesse to that 45-pound threshold. And the one thing that I do different is I'll finish the braid side tag in with 1 or 2 half hitches. So that eliminated the unraveling that I'd occasionally experience with the standard tied Alberto knot. You're welcome.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Anytime. We're gonna have to get you back in the fall.
Yeah, it's
Or
right
whenever,
there. I'll be able
whenever
to
you're free.
there.
Or this summer when we're all up on Lake Champlain together
Oh, we can do a live stream up there with you.
for the
Shout
Candlewood
out
camp.
to the Candlewood Fishing Camp,
Yeah, buddy.
doing things for the next generation. I'm excited for that.
It's gonna be a good time.
I gotta get in touch with them to like finalize like the week that we'll be there and confirm everything, because I know we're gonna be up there the same week as you, but last I talked to him, we're only gonna be there for like part of the week. So I think right now we'll be able to do the whole week. I think that the channel will
hope
make
so.
enough that he can afford to take the week off, and we can make this work.
Nice.
So
Can you
that's
guys
the
donate
plan.
a little bit more so we can go perch fishing on Champlain?
Plan is, though, the plan really is, there's a spot not far from where we're staying that we need to take you.
Oh.
Yeah. You fucking know exactly what I'm talking about, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Are we gonna have to launch my Old Town kayak on it? Is it like?
No. You can put the dream machine in there, bud.
Oh, okay.
Place is magical.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun.
We were very close to 25 pounds on smallmouth there last November
Wow.
for our best 5.
Hell
It's
yeah.
not bad.
And over 20 on largies.
And over 20 on
And we had like 80 fish in the boat.
No, not the day we did the 20. It was 24.7 pounds on our best 5 smallies this past November.
You guys
Oh.
are showboating now.
Oh.
We ain't talking about Champlain.
Okay.
We talking
okay.
about
All right. No, you're coming. No, you are fucking coming.
Yeah, you're at 84 with the perch fishing fun. Bravo.
Thank you very much, Grat. You're the best.
Perch fishing.
We're gonna have a little fish fry.
Yay.
All right.
I love perch.
We're 20 minutes over. We'll get the details later for everything else. So, Oliver, as always, thank you very much again, man, for coming on. Greatly appreciate your time, the knowledge you're willing to share with everybody here. For everybody, again, I'm going to tell you again, go sign up to Oliver's Patreon. But I'm going to hand it off to you, buddy. Go ahead, share everything you'd like to. The floor is yours.
Thanks, guys. Like I said, continue to support these guys because I see it on our page. As I feel like you guys might not be fully appreciating these dudes for all the hard work that they do. So first off, keep those perch fishing funds coming through. Big shout out to Go Fish Dan for setting up this inaugural Northeast Swimbait Expo. I hope we can continue to do this every year. It'd be a perfect excuse for me to come back up there every season and hopefully not have another 8-year drought.
Yeah. Jeez.
Until I get up there again. And looking forward to seeing everybody. We'll be at the Lakeside Outfitters booth both days. And we appreciate you guys. And we have our own live stream every Thursday night. So if you guys get bored, jump in, say hello. We've got my man Rick Harris guiding out of Texas. He just put one of his clients on a mega out of OHIV. So
That
excited
place is insane, what it's been doing this year.
Yeah, him and I have actually fished places kind of in that area, but like I actually never made it to that lake because of how remote it was back when I was living in Austin.
Yep.
And dude, there's nothing out there. So, and we were catching them in downtown Austin. So I was like, why am I going to drive 3 hours out of my way out to the middle of nowhere? And we're busting their ass right here in downtown. And then we can go to the bar, like after we put the boat on the launch ramp, like right up the street. So that's our bad.
Yeah. You're done fucked up. Yeah.
I hit the live stream anyway because I love big fish, man. I mean, they obviously drive everything that I do. So to get insight into that special fishery right now while it's hot from somebody with boots on the ground should be a good one. So thanks again, boys. I can't wait to see you guys in person.
Yeah, dude.
A half or so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and everybody else. Northeast has always been good to me, man. So always have a lot of love for that part of the country.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, dude.
Looking forward to it. So again, thank you everybody who was watching again. Northeast Swimbait Expo. Again, Oliver's going to be there. We'll be there. At least I'll be there Saturday all day. Andrew will be there at some point.
Eventually.
We'll figure it out. April 9th and 10th down in Marlborough, Mass. Northeast Swimbait Expo. Go ahead and look it up. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They have their own webpage, the whole 9 yards. We really hope to see a lot of people there. It's going to be a fantastic show. A lot of baits. If you're going, talk about it. Spread the word. It's the first year for the show. Let's make it big. Let's make it fucking awesome. Let's kill it this year. I mean, it's going to be awesome anyway. There's going to be tons of stuff there. So bring your wallet, bring your credit card, beg your wife, do whatever you got to do. Make it happen.
Bring your wife.
You bring your wife.
Ah, she's going to be pissed.
You don't want her to see it. Holy crap. What else am I missing here? Oh, wait, no. Okay. It's just the same notifications. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. So again, Oliver, thank you very much, buddy. We'll be in touch. We'll figure out what we're doing. We'll meet you at the Swimbait Expo and we'll talk there. We got Champlain. We got the secret honey hole, the whole 9 yards.
Sweet. Sounds good. Hey, Dan, well, I got your attention. Don't forget to book my hotel room. So
Yeah, Dan. I'll text him right now. Like, Dan, do your job. All right, Oliver. Have a wonderful night, sir. Andrew, do the final sign off as always.
All right. Just like every week, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern time at YouTube/603bass.
Close enough.
Yes, I don't even know what the fuck I just said. I need more coffee. All right.
Have a great night, everybody.
See you later.